Hello and welcome to The Report, Cal State Fullerton's premier source for news, views, and info. I'm Michelle Vargas.
I'm Evan Boydston.
I'm Morgan Klein. I'm Sarah Fenton.
And I'm Adrian Islas. Today's hot topics include the Oscars and an award being bestowed upon a group of CSUF called Associate Students Incorporated.
We will also be talking to a Fullerton student who was in Anaheim over the weekend when a KKK rally ended in a man being hospitalized and over a dozen arrests as well.
Plus, we will be giving you the latest updates on the election and Super Tuesday primaries.
All these stories and more on The Report. It's about time that Leonardo DiCaprio finally won an award. Did you guys watch the Oscars at all?
No. Not at all. Nope.
I was the only one who watched it?
I think we were the only two, actually, Morgan, that caught it. Yeah.
Oh, you watched it too?
I did watch it,
that's
yeah.
good.
But in everybody else's defense, I actually did kind of just wait until the end, until they announced Best Picture and Best Actor. And I was waiting for Leo's moment.
So you didn't sit through the whole thing?
3.5 hours, are you guys kidding me? Who can do that?
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, I did it on Friday night, but that's okay. It was 3.5 hours. Well, in case you didn't know, Leonardo finally won, but I'm sure you guys had already heard about
Those reaction
Oh,
videos?
on Twitter? Oh, yeah, I saw it on Twitter
Oh
and
my
everything.
gosh.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
That probably was the best part about it, were the memes afterwards that came out, yeah.
I like the preparation. I like knowing what they're going to eat and all these chefs. Like, they come up with all kinds of stuff to try and feed these shows prior to the Oscars, right? Well, unfortunately, when you're in a relationship and your boyfriend doesn't want to watch it, you're stuck. It's really sad. So I don't blame you that you didn't watch it. I wish that you could have enticed my man to want to watch it. But oh well, I watched the pre-stuff, and I actually was able to attend a pre-Oscar red carpet for all women. So it was like women empowerment.
Very cool.
And I interviewed all these directors and screenwriters. And guys, the Straight Outta Compton, the original screenplay was written by a woman. Interviewed her.
Oh my God. way.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Also, the best picture with Spotlight, right?
Right.
Okay, so I interviewed her as well. That's a woman too. Hey!
Go women!
So all I want to say is go women, and that was my favorite part, honestly. Great, congratulations to all the winners, but that was like the cherry to the cake that wasn't there yet. The pre-Oscars.
Awesome. I didn't know that. I mean, my boyfriend, he didn't want to watch it. He actually surprised me after work with a gondola ride in Long Beach. So I didn't get to watch it, but when we were going around, you could see into everyone's houses, and everyone was watching it. So I'm like, hold on, pause right here. Like, let me see what's going on. But the highlights were pretty interesting, I think.
Well, speaking of the Oscars, let's get started on hot topics for this week. Our first story, of course, the Oscars were this past weekend, and as expected, the 88th annual broadcast came with its fair share of controversy. The story began back in January when the list of this year's nominees was announced, and for the second year in a row, no actors and actresses of color were chosen in the ceremony's top 4 awards. From there, the social media world exploded with the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite, and many prominent Hollywood figures stepped forward to call for an all-out boycott of this year's Oscars. It was no surprise when Chris Rock took the stage as the host and made the diversity issues the forefront of his monologue. But he wasn't the only one using the show as a platform. The evening saw a plethora of moments where winners brought attention to various social issues the world faces today. Here are just a few of the moments from the evening.
But here's the real question. The real question everybody wants to know in the world is Hollywood racist? Is Hollywood racist? You know, that's a you know, you gotta go at that the right way. Is it Vernon Cross racist? No. Is it fetch me some lemonade racist? No. It's a different type of racist.
Most of all, if you don't want big money to control government, don't vote for candidates that take money from big banks, oil, or weirdo billionaires. Stop.
I want to dedicate this to the LGBT community all around the world. I stand here tonight as a proud gay man, and I hope we can all stand together as equals one day.
This film gave a voice to survivors, and this Oscar amplifies that voice, which we hope will become a choir that will resonate all the way to the Vatican.
It is the most urgent threat facing our entire species, and we need to work collectively together and stop procrastinating. We need to support leaders around the world who do not speak for the big polluters or the big corporations, but who speak for all of humanity, for the indigenous people of the world, for the billions and billions of underprivileged people who will be most affected by this.
Is Hollywood racist? Yeah, damn right Hollywood's racist, but it ain't the racist that you've grown accustomed to. Hollywood is sorority racist. It's like, we like you, Rhonda, but you're not a Kappa.
So it's obvious that the Oscars have become a platform for many artists to voice their social beliefs. Like, do you guys think that this is the time and place to be doing it, or should it strictly just be entertainment, the Oscars?
Absolutely not. I think it's good to make your point, but I think Chris Rock's monologue was way too far. And he said a lot of things that I was sitting there and I was just mouth dropped. I'm gonna read you guys a quote that really got my attention. He was talking about in the 60s, of course, there was no nominations for there was no black actors, actresses, they weren't nominating. And so he talks about it you guys wanted to protest this now, but look back at the 60s, you guys weren't protesting anything. And he says, and I quote, he said, "You guys were too busy being raped and lynched to care about who won best cinematographer. And when your grandmother is swinging from tree to tree, it's really hard to care about the best documentary foreign short." So, I think it's a place to kind of make a joke at it, but when you talk about being lynched and being raped, and it's just that was so history, let's move on from it. And I think that he would just kind of took the fun out of the Oscars, especially opening up the show. I was this isn't really entertaining me. It's kind of actually making me feel really uncomfortable.
Well, he actually, it's funny because he did an article, or he did an interview with Rolling Stone, I believe, a few months back, where he openly talked about how racist Hollywood is in their backdoor dealings and the way studios are run, and what people of color, what type of jobs they actually have within the industry. So they knew what they were getting with him when they signed him on to host. And the fact that it's you have this controversy of Oscars so white, I think that just some of the stuff he said, yes, was a little bit over the top. But what's worse, the audience laughing at these jokes. It seems it's almost they embrace this type of the way people see the way these Hollywood studios are. So I don't know that he was. To me, I'll tell you what bothered me more than the monologue was Leonardo DiCaprio's speech on global climate, change and the way global warming, and he used half of his speech. So that's what irked me more than anything else. I think so much the monologue as opposed to Leo's speech there at the end.
Right.
So what do you think, Michelle?
Honestly, I don't mind the I'm supporting my foundation part. I think that they work very hard at what they do and they put in a lot of time, and embracing the fact that I'm not just getting this award and woohoo, praise me, that it's actually going towards, my money helps this, and I want to use this to bring up this topic as a matter that is important. I'm okay with them talking about it. I'd rather them talk about real issues and how they're helping the world than how they're so proud because they got this award.
I agree with that, too.
Chris Rock was perfect. I think he was great there. Did he take it too far? Probably, but it happened, so we got to move on. All right, but moving on to our next topic, the Cal State Fullerton chapter of Associated Students Incorporated has won third place in an international competition held by the Association of College Unions. The award was given for a PSA made by the CSUF ASI entitled "It's on Us." The video was produced as part of President Obama's nationwide campaign to end sexual assault on university and college campuses, and lists off some stunning statistics about sexual assault on college campuses. Take a look.
Sexual assault is committed on a college campus every 21 hours.
1 in 5 women.
1 in 16 men will be assaulted.
8 in 10 victims know their attacker. 90% will remain silent.
This happens on our campus to people we know.
People we know.
When you chose Cal State Fullerton,
when you chose to be a Titan,
you chose to be a part of a community.
And in our community, the Titan community.
It is time to say enough is enough.
No more excuses, no more silence.
This is our campus.
This is our problem.
But we are also the solution. It's on us.
To be more than a bystander.
To identify situations in which sexual assault can occur.
To not look the other way.
To step up and say something.
It's on us.
It's on us.
To intervene when consent has not or cannot be given.
To stop our friends from doing something we know is wrong.
To just do something. Do something. It's on you. It's on me.
It's on us.
To create an environment where Titans feel and are safe. Where yes means yes and no means no.
Where what you choose to wear does not mean you give consent.
Where even one sexual assault on campus is one too many. One too many. 1 in 5 women.
1 in 16 men.
Are sexually assaulted in college. It's on us. As a community, as Titans.
As Titans.
As Titans.
As Titans.
To stop sexual assault.
Okay, guys, so the video states 1 in 5 women are assaulted on a college campus, 1 in 16 men assaulted, and most actually go unreported. I mean, those numbers are pretty startling. What are your thoughts on them?
It's so sad that that actually happens. I mean, when you come to a college campus, you're looking for an education to better your life, to grow, to learn more about yourself, and to have to be at some point assaulted, I think it just really takes away from the experience. And it's so sad that people are actually okay with assaulting, you know, and causing that trauma for someone.
And most people that are sexually assaulted actually know their attacker too, which kind of scary too at the exact same time. I remember got an email from CSUF saying that that there was a sexual assault on campus because they wanted to keep us updated. And they continued on to say that the person did know the attacker, and that kind of made it very chilling. It's kind of scary that most of the time people do know their attacker. That's kind of scary. So.
And what's scary is too is especially when you do know your attacker and you don't like go and report it. It's just so hard. Like I couldn't even imagine just walking on campus and like seeing that person and then just trying to really focus on school. Because like you said, you are here for an education, and I mean, you can't expect somebody to leave. Mm-hmm. You know, they're trying to go, like they want to graduate, and it's just so like scary too. And I think that it's more than 1 in 5 because that is like what is reported. But like for all we can know, it's 3 in 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm actually shocked that 1 in 16 men.
Yeah.
It turns out I would have never guessed that figure. On the flip side, although it is important that these apps and these tools are available to potential sexual assault victims to help deter it altogether so we don't even have a case, I hope that it doesn't end up with more false allegations. Mm-hmm. You have the story, for instance, that Rolling Stone did on the University of Virginia that had to be retracted later because it ended up being a hoax. You have the Duke lacrosse case from a few years ago that also was proven to be false. So while it is great that there are these tools and devices out there to help, ward off would-be assaults, you just kind of hope that it doesn't end up being something being abused.
You would hope that people don't exploit it.
Absolutely.
And try to,
Absolutely. At the end of the day, we just hope that you stay safe, be prepared, get some pepper spray, go to like boxing classes, and guys, bring out those muscles. Moving on, another type of violence. Violence broke out in Anaheim over the weekend when the KKK rally ended in 2 people going to the hospital and a dozen arrests. The rally was planned and announced by a local group of Klansmen, but when they arrived, they were met by a group of over 30 counter-protesters. The Orange County Register reports that at around noon on Saturday, words began to be exchanged between both groups, and soon after, violence broke out. One protester was stabbed by the pole on the American flag, which is absolutely awful, and another was stabbed by a knife. The scene was reported as witnesses and other members that saw it as chaotic and tense, with one witness even saying, quote, "All hell broke loose," end quote. That pretty much explains the gravity of this situation. And of course, we do have an eyewitness who saw this and was able to take video. And he is going to give his exclusive here with us at the report. Our very own Adrian Islas is going to interview him shortly. So please stay tuned. I'm sure that he lived this moment and he'll be able to really explain to us here at the report what it was like to be present.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm actually here now with Daniel Duarte, who actually was at the KKK rally, like you mentioned, this past Saturday. So, Daniel, what brought you to this particular area of Anaheim during the rally?
So it was basically just on a whim. I woke up and I saw on the internet that there was a rally going down, and my friend and I, we filmed videos for YouTube. And for us, it was going to be a very comedic, lighthearted thing, making fun of the KKK and everything, because we don't think they should be taken seriously. But when we got there, they weren't there. We waited around, and then as soon as we were about to head out, that's when they showed up and everything else happened.
So how quickly did the actual confrontation take place the moment that the KKK members actually arrived compared to the anti-protesters that apparently were already there waiting for them? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the anti-protesters were there. I think it's important to note that there was definitely older, and like it was a diverse group of people, many ethnicities and age groups and all that stuff. But as soon as they showed up, the younger people, the punk rockers, as well as just other younger people, approached the car and started insulting them and stuff. It was a back and forth. They were both yelling at each other. But I would say literally like within a minute of them parking, they just swarmed the car.
That's incredible, man. And I know that the KKK members actually did notify Anaheim police prior to this rally and let them know that they were in fact going to be there. How quick well, let me ask you this first. Was there any police presence there when you guys arrived?
No, not
None
at
all, really?
No.
Okay. And how long was the response time after things escalated
After
to
the
violence?
fights? So what I recall from the video I took, I think the fight started, and then the video is 4 minutes long, and at the end of the video, I cut when the cops come. So it's probably literally 4 minutes of fighting and stuff before any cops showed up. Which is weird because they're right down the street from that park.
Wow.
Too.
That really is, it's incredible that this actually did happen. And you know, at what point during, I guess, the melee did you actually, because I actually saw the footage that you took, and it really is incredible that you were right there, literally feet away from these members being assaulted. How quickly did it escalate to that point?
Pretty quickly. Like I said, the young punk rockers swarmed the car, and as soon as I made my way around the car to see what was going on, I saw the guy jump and punch the dude. Or they started punching each other. It wasn't like a one-sided thing either. So yeah, pretty quickly, as soon as they swarmed, there was the one guy specifically that started swinging at him. He's the one that ended up getting stabbed, I believe.
And one complaint, especially on the behalf of the people who live in the area, was, like I mentioned earlier, that there wasn't really a strong police presence in the area during the events. Like you mentioned, it took about 4 minutes for police to actually get there. How quickly were they able to break up, the incident that was going on?
Well, by the time they showed up, they weren't fighting anymore. There was like 3 minutes of fighting, and then they kind of chased the car off. The car took off with a bunch of Klan members, and they were chasing just the other few Klan members away. And so the cops didn't actually do anything besides show up and make arrests, because by then they were done fighting. Everyone was done fighting.
I see, okay. Now you mentioned earlier to me before the interview actually started that you're actually a film major. Did this experience by any chance make you want to maybe get into the field of broadcast news, broadcast journalism, since it seems you got a pretty good nose for it?
More so the money, I guess. It's cool. But at the same time, I had like this whole moral dilemma thinking about like, if you're someone working in journalism and you put out a video of violence, and then some other, I don't know, white supremacist groups see it and it kind of motivates them to retaliate, I felt kind of iffy about that whole aspect of it.
So you were hesitant, I guess, at first?
Yeah, I wasn't planning on selling the footage at all because it was so violent. But my friend, the one that came with me, he was the one that he pushed me. He's like, no, you should, because everyone else is gonna do it. Everyone else had video footage that they sold off their phones. So I guess I was like, oh, I'm gonna sell it.
Okay, yeah, well, fair enough. I mean, this actually is one of the, I guess, perks of being there. And if something like this does actually happen, you can expect every major news outlet in the country, like you mentioned, to be contacting you for this. So Daniel, I really want to thank you for taking the time to be on here on The Report, discussing what happened this past weekend. And thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
A batch of undercooked chicken from a campus eatery was reported to the Daily Titan. Students Emily Waters and Alana Stein ate at the on-campus buffet-style restaurant called The Gastronome and said that when their order of crispy chicken arrived, it was raw and inconsumable. After an inspection by the food service director, Rhonda Robinson, it was determined that the chicken did in fact appear to be undercooked. This is not the first time an incident like this has been reported, but Robinson says, quote, "Nothing is more important to CSUF dining than food safety, and we take all customer concerns about food quality very seriously," end quote. She urges anyone with food safety concerns at any of the on-campus eateries to notify any on-duty manager immediately.
And in other news today, the election continues to heat up as the candidates recover from this week's Super Tuesday primaries. As was widely speculated, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton came out ahead of the rest by winning 7 states each in their respective primaries. Carson and Kasich received no majority votes in any of the 11 states. Both Clinton and Trump are now expected to win their party's nominations and face each other come November, although neither Bernie Sanders or Ted Cruz have announced plans to drop out of the race anytime soon. The report will keep you updated on all the latest election news as it comes in. We thank you for watching and hope you tune in next time for more news, views, and info. I'm Adrian Islas.
I'm Michelle Vargas.
I'm Evan Boydston.
I'm Morgan Klein. And I'm Sarah Fenton. Stay fresh, Fullerton.